A crow spots a face pattern linked to danger and calls. Another bird joins the alarm. Could a crow that was never trapped learn what this face pattern means? The unsettling question is what the crows carry forward: the clothes, the path, the whole person, or a face pattern tied to danger. Field tests were designed to separate those possibilities. The mask had become dangerous because people wearing it had trapped and released crows. Later, different people wore that same mask with different clothes, builds, and walks. Yet the crows usually followed and scolded that same mask, not the neutral one beside it. Not one coat or one body, but not detached from place either. In the crossed field tests, crows usually targeted the dangerous mask, with the strongest response at the original trapping site. That is the first answer. A danger-associated face pattern can outlast the first wearer, but it is only one route into a crow's warning system. In another field study, researchers placed a dead American crow near food. Nearby adults scolded, other crows arrived, and the birds became slower to return to that feeding place after the scene was gone. That is not proof of a funeral, grief, or ritual. The observable result is narrower and more useful. A dead crow can turn an ordinary patch of ground into a danger scene. The response was not identical to every scene. A hawk holding a dead crow brought a stronger immediate reaction than a hawk alone, or a dead crow alone. That does not prove crows build a human-style story of exactly what happened. It shows that the configuration in front of them changes how intensely they respond. Now the dangerous human cue enters the same question. In those field tests, a previously unfamiliar masked person could stand beside a dead crow or predator scene, then leave. Later, when that same mask returned without the scene, crows could still treat it as dangerous. Some birds kept responding for weeks after only one pairing. The careful claim is not that the crows solved a crime, it is that they learned an association. This face pattern appeared beside danger, so it deserved caution when it returned. That matters because it widens the opening alarm. A crow that sees such a pairing does not have to be trapped itself before a human cue can become part of its local danger map. But a warning cannot become public just because one bird has learned it. Other crows need something they can respond to. The birds directly involved were not the only ones learning. Warning behavior spread sideways through nearby crows, and young birds learned to scold from their parents. That is how a danger can become locally known, even when only some birds had the original encounter. But the flock does not inherit the memory perfectly. On average, crows with first-hand experience were better at separating the dangerous mask from the neutral one than birds that learned socially. So a mobbing crow is not proof that every bird remembers the first day. It can reflect a learned warning that has become public, with less precision as it travels. A separate study of American crow mob calls gives part of the immediate picture. When the danger level rose, call structure changed too. Calls became longer, calling became faster, and the gaps between calls grew shorter. The study does not prove that a listener receives a detailed message about who caused what, and shows caller-side acoustic variation that tracked the danger level. The study did not test what a listening crow extracts from that variation, or whether it joins the response. And a crow does not stop judging once a warning is started. It still has to read the danger in front of it. In a roadside study, crows facing an oncoming vehicle moved differently depending on whether they stood in the vehicle's lane or out of its path. Birds in the direct path moved aside or flew, while some birds outside that path stayed put. That pattern is consistent with sensitivity to where a danger is heading, not just with panic at anything large that moves. It does not show that crows calculate a perfect trajectory. It shows that stored warnings are only part of the decision. Movement, distance, direction, and the current setting can still change the response. That is why the word remember needs two clocks. Directly tested American crows kept scolding a dangerous mask for at least 2.7 years after the original capture. The 5-year finding is different. It tracks a warning spreading and persisting through a local crow community, not one bird proving the same private memory for 5 years. So the remarkable part is not a perfect flock memory. It is that a learned danger can outlive the first encounter by becoming a local tradition, then meet a new situation that still has to be judged in real time. But a face pattern is not the whole encounter. A crow can also change its response when a person looks directly at it. The dangerous face pattern was not the only thing crows noticed. In another field test, they fled sooner when a person looked directly at them than when the gaze was turned away. But changing the face from a smile to a scowl did not produce the same difference. That does not give us one perfect formula for crow judgment. It shows a learned, danger-associated face pattern cue is one cue in a live encounter, not the whole encounter. The dead crow studies sharpen that limit too. Crows did not respond to a dead pigeon in the same way they responded to a dead crow. The system was selective, not a simple reaction to any still bird. So the safest picture is also the more interesting one. Crows can link a human cue to danger, read the setting around it, respond to the urgency of other birds, and keep updating what they see now. Return to the opening alarm. The first crow sees a face pattern linked to danger and calls. The second crow may not share the first bird's private history. Some birds learn from direct danger, others learn from other crows. The calls themselves can vary with the danger at hand, and every bird still faces the encounter in front of it. A recurring danger-associated face pattern can be treated as dangerous within a locally transmitted warning system. That is what the flock learned. Next, see what parrots actually judge you on, not who feeds them.